going on YouTube? Welcome to another video. Joining me here for a back workout, starting off with our usual hybrid rows. And, it's going to be a back workout. So we're going to be confined in this space for a good amount of time. Just kind of pulling stuff, making the last work, kind of going from there. So just trying to work up, see what's comfortable, and make sure that we're able to get the contraction we want. So 315 here. Again, not terrible. There are some days, depending on the work that's done earlier in the week with pulling, that sometimes this is slowed down or just not as efficient. So really trying to work on that, figure out what I want to do. The thing with barbell rows, I hate doing the ones where, like these ones, where it's controlled. It just feels uncomfortable to me. I really hate bent over rows, but I like doing some sort of heavy barbell movements that stimulates them in a way to get some work done. And there's really not much you can do. Machines and stuff are real nice, and you don't have to do much. You can really control your range of motion and your tempo, and I'm really liking that. So that's been a good relief, because most gyms you kind of have to jerry-rig your own workout. There's not much you can do. There's not a lot of different machines and stuff. Here you can really isolate, break them down, and kind of go from there. So I'm glad we have all that. And I am a bread and butter barbell guy, so I really do enjoy just doing basic heavy movements. I think they carry over really well, but it is nice to be able to kind of just not turn your brain off, but just get into a routine with certain movements. And I swear, this is my favorite shot whenever I do back workouts. There's a light like right above, and you can actually see some degree of muscle mass underneath the shirt when it happens. And like I said, my back is weird. I've got no lower back. Just goes from lats to glutes. And so I'd probably have to get decently lean to get some crazy stuff in there, which I don't know if that'll ever happen. Might not be in my genetic pool or whatever, but we're going to keep getting strong anyway. Just a quick roundabout, because a lot of the back stuff is just really uninteresting contraction movements. So moving on to bench press. As much as we want to say, okay, cool, the bodybuilding stuff, to look, the end result of bodybuilding is always interesting. The actual work to get there is not very interesting, because it's repetitive and the same stuff over and over again. But when you're doing some form of strength training where the goal is to move weight, it's kind of cool to see the weight actually being moved. And then you can judge based off of how quickly you move it, and the nice control or whatever can be another metric of success. So that's what I like. I like hitting those heavier numbers. And when I do the hypertrophy stuff, I am trying to beat rep work that I've done before, so adding a rep or two here, and then weight. That's kind of my whole thing. I want to do more than I did last time. Something has to change, which is not always going to happen. Sometimes you're just going to be at a point where there's not, you got to recover longer. Week to week, you're not going to be able to add weight. You can if you start low enough, but there's a point where you have to balance the strength work and the strategic planning and periodization of all that, which is the hard point here when you're like a natty lifter, is you're going to run up against a wall with recovery, and you have to be careful with what you can manage and what you can't. The only way to figure that out is to do it. So with any sort of training program, you'll get more efficient at the training program the more that you do it. You may just have to start off at maybe a lower starting point or just less volume and incorporate more. And that's kind of like what my whole thing has been. I like training. I like doing a lot of stuff though, and then I like challenging myself to add more reps, weight, whatever, kind of go from there. There has been a point where I've hit, a roadblock where I've done too much stuff and kind of pulled back, and that's why this is ever changing and dynamic. You really have to figure out exactly what you want to do. And if your goal is to keep making progress over time, then you need to mitigate all that. You need to figure out, okay, what's the best course of action? How can I recover? What can I change differently? And you don't always have to, it doesn't have to be a linear route. You can make progress as long as you're moving forward. You're still doing work, and body's got to recover from it. So there will be a net benefit to that. So just in my head, I compartmentalize things. I like strategic planning. So like if I'm not hitting, let's say you come in 1 week and you hit 100 pounds for 10 reps, and next week you hit 100 for 9. It's like, oh man, I'm falling back. But you're really not though. You're still adding that cumulative fatigue to your system that you're going to have to recover from. It's like what would be a detriment is not doing anything, and then coming back after being untrained for that 100 pounds and not being able to control it and get the reps that you were before. So it doesn't have to be week to week. Progress is however you define it. It could be over the extent of a program. It could be 12 to 14 weeks, 15 weeks longer, or You know, it just really depends. As long as you're moving and doing things and you're acclimating to things, you're going to see progress and change. It's the consistency for most people. You're going to get sick, you're going to potentially get injured, and that deters people from going. And the only real way to get experience with getting through those types of events is to go through them. So you have to train not viciously sick where you're infectious or could hurt somebody or whatever, but those days you're not feeling too great, you're fatigued, maybe you didn't sleep well, adjust your workout and kind of go from there. You know, this does promote healing and wellness, or wellness, Jesus Christ, yeah, wellness when it's really hard, health and wellness. You know, when you put your body into stressful environments and have to recover, you get stronger. That's the whole point of getting sick. You know, colds are like a little test for your body to make sure that your immune system's up to date, and like exercise for your antibodies and immune system to protect you. So it's no different than training. It's putting yourself into positions that compromise your whether it's health and wellness to a degree. Like you're tearing down muscle fibers, right? There's a point where you tear down too much, and I forgot the name of the condition, but you can do more damage if you're not recovering. But the whole point is to recover, and that's the whole basis here. So, end of the rant there. Don't have enough time to go on that. Maybe the next video, but like, comment, subscribe. See you in the next one.
Thanks for watching the latest video. If you want to help support the channel, I actually own my own wet shaving and grooming e-commerce website where everything's handmade by me. It's www.apexsoaps.com, and you can get a 10% off code using wet shaver. We've got some cool scents here. We've got some Coca-Cola scents, a horchata scent, traditional barbershop, just some really cool stuff. And you can purchase samples or you can buy the whole set. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out via email. Be quick to respond. Thanks for watching.